Okay, so we can start. Hello, everyone. I'm Sanjay Gupta. I welcome you on Sanjay Gupta Tech School. So I have Chaitanya with me. Welcome, Chaitanya, on the channel.
Hi, thank you.
So, yep. So, as you already know, we are having this automation testing bootcamp going on, and today we have day three of that bootcamp. So, in two sessions, lots of things Chaitanya already explained.
Yeah,
So, in continuation with that, he will be delivering some few more topics in front of you, so that you can continue your journey in direction of automation test, right? So without wasting much time, I just want to hand over to Chaitanya so that he can start with the session.
thank you,
Over to
Sanjay.
you. Yep.
Hello, viewers. So, in the last two sessions, or last two, rather three sessions, we did talk about the introduction to test automation, what Selenium WebDriver is, and we saw how an XPath is to be designed. What are the different methods to design an XPath? So that was basically section one. Now, this section two, which is actually writing down the test cases, or how you actually automate your functional test cases. This is something we are going to have a look at today, right? So if you remember, in the first session, I did show you a script, a sample script, as visible on my screen right now. So I did show you that how a test case is written automation wise, and how when you execute it, you are able to see that particular test case in execution using automation without any manual intervention, right? So now the thing is that we are going to learn that how it is written, right? So for example, let me just take you to a sample test case, a simpler one. So great. So this is a sample test case, and the test case functionally says that navigate to login.salesforce.com. Then you click on, rather you enter your username, you enter your password, you click on login button, and then you maybe navigate to some links or click on some button, right? So this was the functional test case. Now this is what we have converted using Selenium. So the automation correspondence, or the automation equal to functional, that is, let's suppose in the manually it says that navigate to URL. In automation, you say it as driver.get and you enter URL. Then in line number 27, manually it says that enter username, and you use your keyboard and enter the username. Automation wise, you say driver.find element, you give in the XPath of username, and you give in the username, right? And similarly, when I tell you that when you click on the button which is login, you simply use .click method as highlighted right now, right? So the intent of actually showing you these steps and correlating somewhere manual and automation is that the folks who believe that automation is very difficult, it's very complex to learn automation and all these things, I'm here to debunk those myths. It is so when you think it from the manual perspective, that whatever you're doing it manually, you're just writing the code for it using some methods, and then you're going to go ahead and automate those test cases. Number one. Number two is that if you can see clearly on the screen, it's not a very very complex code. You're not writing some mammoth of loops and mammoth of code. It's just that you need to know the right libraries, you need to know the right methods, and you're good to get started with test automation. Okay. So, Sanjay, let's start with the first section for today,
Okay.
which is,
We need to
yeah,
zoom in so that, okay, I think it will automatically zoom in, right?
I will zoom it. Just give me a minute.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so guys, the first topic that we're going to discuss today is going to be that of find element and find elements. And as the name already suggests, find element is basically when you have your XPath. So we have learned how to design XPaths, right? Now, let's suppose I tell Selenium, rather, let's first think manually or functionally. I always believe that if you first get the manual or functional relation, the automation relation becomes a little easier, right? So let's suppose if the test case is that go and click on maybe tasks tab, right? Now, as a human, you know that the task button is somewhere here and I need to click on it. That is, I need to click on my trackpad or on my mouse. That is the manual action. Now, how would Selenium know it? So there are two things that you have to tell Selenium, with the help of which it will be able to go and locate that element and do your action, right? So the first one is that where is this particular element tasks on the entire web page? So there are multiple numerous web elements, right? So for example, every button, every link, every URL, every text that you see on the web page, anything that you see on the web page is basically a web element, right? So out of these numerous web elements, how do you tell Selenium that you have to locate and click on tasks web element, right? So to locate it, you give an XPath. And XPath is something that we already learned. That is, you click on inspect, you write down the XPath here, and you'll be able to locate the element. Okay, that's done. But then, not only not only XPath works. You have to give it some action as well. That is, okay, if I know the address of tasks on the web page, that's fine. But what am I going to do with it? Am I going to click on it? Am I going to type something in the text box like this, right? Or am I going to maybe, I don't know, read a text or something, right? So all these actions are to be performed as well. So every test step that you write using automation or using Selenium has these two different things. Number one is the XPath or the locator or the address, and number two is the action that you want to do on that particular web element, right? So till now we have learned part number one, which is locating an element, and now in number two we are going to see that how to perform an action. Now coming back to find element, cool. So WebDriver interface, again, I did explain it in the last session, but just a quick revision. So basically these methods, that is .find element, .click, .get, that we just saw in the script in Eclipse, right? They're all part of, or rather they're methods of an interface that is WebDriver, right? So again, going back to the code, just to give you a reference, the line which I have highlighted, which is line number 18, WebDriver, driver is equals to new Chrome driver options, right? So folks who know a little bit of coding know that this is an interface, you're instantiating an object or all these things, and then you're passing a parameter. But my more focus is on the people who do not know programming. So the good thing is, and I have been saying this time and again, that the intent of this entire session, these bootcamp, this playlist is that people who do not know programming should be able to get a taste or a flavor of what test automation is, and they should be able to get started at least. I'm not saying that you will become a champion without knowing programming, but the intent is that you get a flavor of what's happening and you just understand the basic nitty-gritties of test automation or Selenium in general, right? So that is the intent. So line number 18 is something which remains similar in each and every test case, right? So for example, you have one test case, then you have another test case where you're performing something else, then you have another test case. So if you see this line, which is WebDriver, driver is equals to new Chrome driver, this line remains same in all the test cases. So even if you're not a programmer, just know that this line has to be there, which is Chrome options till options. That is line number 17 and 18, which I've highlighted, right? So, I mean, I know one should be able to understand that what is written, but for folks who are not from programming background, at least you will not be blocked. Just understand that this particular line will open a new Chrome session for you. What is Chrome session again? You might ask. So let's suppose if I have to test out a particular scenario. For example, if I'm asked to go and test, that is click on tasks button. That is just a simple test case. Now, will I be able to perform all these actions without actually opening a new Chrome window? I won't be able to, right? So basically the task that you do manually, that is you open a new Chrome window, is being performed by WebDriver, driver is equals to new Chrome driver. That is, it will go and open a new window for you. In very, very amateur terms, of course, there can be very technical meanings or definitions to it, but for generic purposes, this is the intent, right? Then you have line number 20, which is driver.manage. Line number 22. Let's focus on 22 first. Driver.manage.window.maximize, right? Just focus on the keyword maximize. So it is similar to the manual action, that is when you maximize your window or you minimize your window, right? Then you have driver.get, that is you use this driver object that you created in line number 18, and then you use different methods. So there can be different methods to it as well. So for example, you have driver dot, and then you see these different methods in front of you, right? So driver dot get is basically the manual equal of navigating to a URL. Cool. So now we saw that what is the significance of WebDriver and driver in general. Now let's go and have a look at find element method, right? So of course, the definition is finds the first element with the current web page by using given locator. That's all fine, but my intent is to show it to you practically, right? So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to log out from the DevOps for now. Cool. We are on the login page, right? You have the username field, you have the password field. Now the test case is that go ahead and enter username, enter password, and click on login, right? Okay, till now we know that what is an XPath. We use an XPath to locate an element. We did. Let's go and just check with this XPath if this is working or not. Seems like it's working. I'll just zoom in a little bit. Seems like it's working because you can see a node which is highlighted in yellow color and there is an element, right? So it's working. But now imagine that you have this address, right? But you do not have the way or the conveyance to deliver to that address, right? In real life, imagine that you are to deliver a parcel to somebody, you have the address, but you do not have the conveyance to do that. Or you do not know how to find that particular address, basically. You do not have that, that knack for directions, you don't know how to take left or right, for example. It is similar, right? So if you have an address, but if you don't know how to find an address, the address is of no use. The same action, the same feature is something that dot find element does for you. That is, it goes ahead and navigates you to that particular address, right? You give it the address that is in by.xpath, but then dot find element basically finds that particular element using this XPath. It's as simple as that, right? So basically, the next time if somebody asks you that what is driver.find element or what is the use of dot find element method, you say that it is it searches a web element using the XPath that we give it. Cool. So that is dot find element. Now I have another question for you. That is, what do you think is dot find elements, which is the next topic that we are going to discuss. So find element is basically find elements is basically the plural of find element, right? So the thing is that it says that it finds a list of elements that might be present on the web page. We did see in the last session that within XPath, there can be duplicate web elements identified as well, right? We did. So what if that situation happened? For example, let me go ahead and copy this XPath, log into Salesforce. I'll close this. Cool. And again, inspect the powerhouse of XPaths. Then, cool. So if you see a little bit closely in the section where my mouse is scrolling, it says 1 of 4. So there is no unique element being identified with this address. That is equivalent to the day-to-day life example is that you have an address which is pointing you to 2 or 3 homes. Might be the plot got divided and that is why the address got duplicate, right? So it's the same situation. Now, when I use driver.find element and I tell Selenium to use driver.find element and locate me that particular web element using that XPath. As long as it is 1 of 1, as long as it is 1 of 1, that's fine. It will go ahead and work. But what if it is 1 of 4? That is, if it has duplicate elements. That is 1 of 2, 1 of 3, 1 of 4, or numerous up till 10, 15, 20. What do you think driver.find element will do? So practically, it will go and select the first one, right? But what if I want to select multiple web elements, or let's suppose if I want to get the web elements or get the text of all the web elements with this particular XPath, right? So this XPath is identifying right now 4 web elements. And I want to fetch the text, which is view opportunities, view accounts, view contacts, and view leads. I want to fetch the text of these buttons, of all the 4 buttons. Then how do I do it? Because find element only works for one single element, right? So in that case, you use dot find elements. That is, it returns you a list of the web elements. I can show you the code of the list and all for now, but folks who, are new to automation will not understand that what a list data type is and how you push that particular, those particular web elements into a list and all these things. And honestly, dot find elements is relatively lesser used. More used is dot find element in practical scenarios as per my experience. So for you, for now, as per the basics, even if you know that what dot find elements does is that it basically returns the list of all the web elements that a particular XPath finds. Again, dot find elements will return you a list of all the web elements that a particular XPath finds, right? So that is the function of dot find elements. Good. So this is all you need to know about dot find element and dot find elements in general. Good. So I think we are done with these 2 methods. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and explain more. But till that, Sanjay, do we have any questions?
No, not right now.
Okay, cool. Okay, then let's focus on some more methods. And the first one is dot get. I think this is something we have discussed. This is the manual equal of navigating to a URL. So if I am going on, let's say, login.salesforce.com, right? And when I'm doing it manually, I'm navigating to a URL. And if you want Selenium to do it, you simply use driver.get, which is something like this. As in line number 24, the highlighted one in blue color. That is driver.get, and you pass in the URL. So .get is basically the action or the method that will navigate you to that URL, right? Cool. Then you have close and quit. Cool. So what is the difference between close and quit? Basically, what driver.quit will do is something that we'll see right now. Just give me a second. So okay, let me go ahead and let me comment this code for now. Just do not focus on the commented code for now. Just focus on set.sleep. Then you have driver.quit. Now let's see what quit does, right? Just have a look at the execution, and sort of an FYI for you that when you open a Chrome window, right, and when you click on Chrome and you click on quit Google Chrome, or maybe for Windows you click exit, it is the similar of that you when you use .quit, it is the similar action that is performed using Selenium. Let's see how it does, right? So we have this script which says that instantiate a Chrome driver for me, or a Chrome window for me in very amateur words. Then you have maximize the window, then you have navigate to URL, and then you quit it, right? So you'll see that the action which is going to get performed is similar to exit. See, it did, right? So this window is now closed for you. Right? You do not see that window anymore, right? So that is the use of .quit, right? Now, what is .close? So if you have a look at the definition, it says method closes only the current window on which automated test is running. For example, you have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tabs running, right? So if I use driver.close, and of course there are the different parameters then, but it will only close the tab on which I am right now. Or if there are multiple windows, for example, if I click on new window, right, and then if I click on new window again, now there are 2 windows open or 3 windows open right now, right? So if I use driver.close, it will only close the current window. Out of the 3 windows, it will only close the current window. Or if there are multiple tabs, it will close the current tab. But if I use driver.quit, it will go ahead and close all the windows of Chrome, similar to what would happen when you press quit Google Chrome or exit Google Chrome. That is the difference. So quit will basically close or quit the entire session, and close will close the current session, as mentioned on the screen in the definition, right? Then we have Sanjay. Any questions till now?
No.
Cool. Okay, so I hope that for now, find elements, get, close, and quit are clear to you, guys. Of course, there are numerous methods available for WebDriver or Chrome driver. I do not have the time right now in this session to discuss all, because that's something a little bit intermediate level. But the intent is to show you the different actions that you usually perform manually and how they can be performed using Selenium. So we picked up the most common actions, for example, clicking on an element, or finding an element, or sending, writing how you write on your keyboard, exiting a window. So all these actions, how you perform them manually, you already know. How you perform them using Selenium is what you were telling them, right? Now we are going to go and have a look at some other more methods. The first one is...
sorry to interrupt. One thing, like if you can showcase any playlist where in depth you have explained those methods. So
sure.
Like folks can go to your channel and they can follow that particular playlist. So it will be helpful.
Sure. So guys, you can see my channel. I have this YouTube channel, this initiative of mine, which I started. So this quickly for this initiative, this is basically a channel where I'm posting about latest technologies, the free trainings, the tutorials playlist. Then we have resume preparation and mock interview sessions for test automation or for QA in generic. Plus, we are coming up with some quick 101 sessions with industry experts as well. So stay tuned for that as well. But as Sanjay mentioned, that we have this this playlist, which is almost for 21 videos now. Herein, we are taking you right from the beginner level, if you're new to test automation, and we are talking about locators, we're talking about the different functions, the different methods, alerts, windows, all these things in detail, how you exceptions and all these things. Of course, we are discussing all these things in our live bootcamp sessions as well. But of course, everything cannot be discussed here. So the point of such bootcamp session is to get you well versed with the concept of test automation, show you some things, and if you want to learn more in detail, if you want to grow yourself in this particular tech stack, you go and refer to these videos. So in the YouTube video description, that, or rather this video that Sanjay is going to post, there is going to be the URL to my channel. And of course, if you have any specific questions or anything, please feel free to ping me on LinkedIn. I'm quite responsive on LinkedIn. So yeah, I hope that this channel helps you.
Okay.
Cool. So
yeah,
I'll continue then.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, the next method is click, and the name is quite evident. That is, it basically resonates the click action that you do. So when I click on this tab, or let's say when I click on maybe the view accounts button, or if I click on the profile icon, all these actions are click actions. So the Selenium equivalent of this particular action is .click method, which is, again, let us go and have a look at see, .click, right? So basically what it does is, let us understand this particular this step in sections. Driver is something that basically is an object for that particular driver session or Chrome session that we have open. Then .find element basically is a method or is a way of Selenium which will help us locate an element. And how do you locate an element? You use .find element method, but you need to give it an address, of course. So this address is given by this XPath. Okay. So for now, you have the element located using .find element. But what now? Of course, when we find an element, some action has to be performed. So I wanted to click on that. So you simply use .click, and this will go ahead and click that particular web element for you. Cool. Then the next one is getText, right? So getText is very, I mean, it's somewhere correlates to a very common thing. That is, so I want to explain it in a very simple manner. Cool. So let me go ahead and let me copy this XPath for you. And let us go to a contact record. Let me search this here. So, oh, that's weird. Just give me a second. Okay, just to simplify it. So for example, if I am on a contact record, right, and I have this particular record in front of me. Now let's suppose if I want to fetch the text, right? So you and me know as humans that this is a text which reads CFO, right? But what if I want Selenium to do it? That is, I want it to fetch the text for me. So what do? That is, we inspect this element, we write on the XPath for it, which is this one, right? I mean, you can write on the XPath using this. Then what do? We use the .getText method, right? I'm going to show you the .getText method as well. Just give me a second. So we have it here. Just a minute. I have it coded with me. Yeah, there you go. So, good. So the usual things first, that is, you instantiate an object, you basically maximize the window, and then you have .find element, that is, you log in, right? And then you have .click, that's fine. And then you have driver.get, you again navigate to a URL, which is basically a lead record, right? And then you have this particular XPath, right? And then you have dot get text, right? So basically dot get text, what it will do, we'll again go and see. So let me first navigate to this URL manually to give you an idea of what's actually happening here. So right now, let me see if this XPath is working or if there was some change of alignment or something. It's working, right? So let me go ahead and just minimize it. So if you are able to see, it's highlighting an element for me on the web page, which is Miss Brenda McClure, right? It's highlighting this particular web element. Now I am asking Selenium to go ahead and fetch this text for me using .get text method, right? We have written an XPath and we're going up till this node, which is highlighted in yellow. And I'm asking Selenium to fetch this text, which is Miss Brenda McClure for me, right? Let's see, will it do it or not? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just run it for now. Rather, I'll just run this example all at once. I want to discuss the other method as well, which is .get attribute, right? So let us have a look at .get attribute again. So if you remember, we did discuss about XPaths designing and all in detail, right? So what does .get attribute does? .get attribute method does. So if you see, this is a node. You have the tag, then you have this attribute, and you have an attribute value, right? So using .get attribute method, you will be able to get the attribute value of the attribute, right? So for example, in this case, if I use .get attribute method, I'm going to get the value as primary field, right? Again, another example, if I maybe refer to this node, and if I use .get attribute method, I'm going to get the value which is SLDS media __ body. So basically, .get attribute method will fetch the attribute value for you. Cool. And then lastly, we have another method which is displayed. So is displayed is basically a boolean that is true or false. So if the is displayed method, that is is displayed, if it returns true, that means that that particular web element for which you were searching with the XPath is present on the web page. And if it doesn't, it means that it's absent from or it's missing from the web page, right? So these are the three methods. Now let's go and try executing this script and let's see the results as well. Cool. So
Showing some error.
Actually, it's because of the credentials. Just a minute. I think we're good now.
Now this script will execute automatically, right? It
Yes.
executed actually.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
See, it's executing,
Okay.
right? And in the console below, wherein the results are, first is get text value, which is Miss Brenda McClure. Now let's go and see whether this particular string is available on the web page or not. Oh, it's logged out, but I'll navigate to the user manually here. So this text is present here, right? Then we had a .get attribute, which is, again, I'm highlighting it. It'll highlight in blue color, so have a look at it. Line number 38 and 39, right? So you have this method which says driver.find element by.xpath, then you have .get attribute, and then you pass in the attribute name. Isn't it logical? Because in any node, you will have multiple attribute and attribute values, right? So for example, let me go ahead and let me inspect this element. Do you see there are multiple attribute and attribute values? There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And I repeat it a lot. So computers are not that smart, right? You have to tell them each and everything. So if you do not tell them that which particular attributes value do you need to fetch, then how will it figure out? So you have to tell them that which particular attributes value do you want to fetch. So in this case, we wanted to fetch the value of slot. This is the attribute and I wanted to fetch the value which is primary field. So I gave the attribute as slot, and if you see here, you have the slot value or the attribute value which is primary field. Then lastly, focus on line number 41 and 42. So it was a Boolean, and again it says that this is the XPath, and tell me if this is displayed or not. That is the web element that I find with this XPath. Is this present or not? How will you do it? You basically use dot is displayed, and if it returns true, which it did, that means that this particular web element is present on the UI. And is it present? It is present because it was title CF, right? So this is all. These are some different methods that are very very useful while you are automating in Selenium. So I think for today we are good. These are some methods. Just go and have a look at these methods, revise them at your own level, and just if you have any questions, feel free to ping me, or of course refer to my channel, which is again I'm showing on the screen. Tech and More. There is a dedicated playlist wherein you have this entire, and if you're a beginner, you can go and refer to it. So yeah, I think Sanjay, that's all for today. I don't want to overburden folks who are watching. So
Yeah, I think this is good, and you already gave a little bit overview. And those who are interested and they want to deep dive, so everything is already available on your channel. So, guys, I would recommend like go to Chaitanaya's channel, and if you really want to upskill yourself in automation testing area, so you will find good content there. And again, another thing, like as you know, my tech school is running admin and developer training modules. So I included automation testing in that admin module program as well. So if you think you or any colleague or your friend wants to upskill themselves for Salesforce admin or consultant program or development program, so recommend them, because we are having personalized session for automation testing that is part of our admin program. So you can learn it from there as well. Okay, so thank you, Chaitanya, for sharing your knowledge with the community. So I think
Thank you,
we'll be
Sanjay.
having few more sessions in next week. So
Yeah.
people will learn. Actually, my video got freeze due to some technical
Yeah.
issues. So
I am unable to see you right now.
yeah. Okay, so thank you, Chaitanya, for sharing your knowledge, and thank you, folks,
Thank you.
who joined live, and those who are watching recording. Thanks to you as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you all.